The title of this story is My Father. A long time ago, approximately 2,500 something years ago, there was a king who lived in the Buddha's time. His name was King Pimbisara. He had a very nice family. He had a loving, beautiful wife, and he had a son who he loved so much. They named him Ajatasattu. And everything they did with the son. Took him to get good food, took him on vacations. They just had a really close and happy family. Later on, King Pimbisara became one of the Buddha's #1 supporters. He was a good Buddhist. He kept the 5 precepts. He practiced and learned the Dhamma. He supported the Sangha. He gave charity and was a good person. He taught everyone in the country to be good people also, and most of them were. And so it was a time of a lot of good people. The Buddhist religion started to grow. More people became monks. More people supported them. Everything was going good. However, just like in life, not everything is perfect. Not everyone is good. Even in the Buddha's time, the Buddha had a cousin named Tevatatta, who was kind of known as the evil monk. Now, Tevatatta had a plan, and he wanted to become the next Buddha, the next leader, but it wasn't his job. So he kept trying to find ways to take the job, trick to get the job, but he couldn't. So he came up with the plan. He started observing that Ajatasattu was growing up to be a young man, a young prince. And just like young boys, they want the attention of their father. So they kept trying to get their father's attention, and maybe they felt like they didn't get enough attention. So Tevatatta went to go see Ajatasattu, and he started using like special powers to impress the prince. And the prince was really impressed. And so the prince became Tevatatta's supporter. And so the more support that Tevatatta got from the prince, the more Tevatatta would talk to the prince and tell him things that were not so good. Like he would say, hey, you would be a better king than your father. Oh, look at what your father did. He did such a bad job. If it was you, you would do a better job. Oh, if you were the king, you would make so much better decisions. Oh, things would be better if you were the king. And eventually the prince kept listening to Tevatatta say this over and over and over. And because he trusted Tevatatta and had faith in Tevatatta, he listened. But he says, teacher, but you keep saying I would do better, but how can I become the king when I'm just the prince? My father is not retired yet. He says, go ask your father for the kingdom. And so the prince went to go ask, Father, I want to be king. Can I be king? And the father said, it's not time yet, son. Wait for your time. You will be king for sure one day. Just wait. And he was like, teacher, my father said not yet. Yeah, see, your father doesn't respect you. He doesn't love you. He doesn't like you. What should we do, teacher? Well, there's one way that you can become king for sure, which is you can kill your father. And so he came up with the plan. Well, I don't want to just murder him straight up. What do we do? Easy. Go lock him in a tower and he'll die by himself. So he says, Father, I lock you in a tower. And so he locked the king in a high tower and locked the door and had a guard. But the king's wife, loving wife, what she would do is she would ask her son, can I visit your father at least while he's trapped, while he's in the prison? He says, okay. So she would take food with her inside of her clothes so that he could eat it. And so after like a week, he didn't die. After a little bit more time, he didn't die. And so the prince was like, something's happening. And he caught his mom bringing food. So he told his mom, no more food. You cannot bring food to father. You cannot. And so she didn't. But this time she would put some stuff, some kind of like oily, like ghee in her hair, which is like buttered oil, so that the king can lick it out of her hair and still get full from food. So once again, he didn't die. After 7 days, he says, Mom, you're doing something. You can't visit him anymore. And so she didn't. So the king had nothing to eat, but he still didn't die because of his faith in the Buddha. He would turn towards where the Buddha was, and he would walking and do contemplation, and he would look at the Buddha and feel full of his Dhamma powers. So he didn't die. And then when he asked the soldiers, is my father dead yet? It's been a full week already. He should have died by now. He said, no, we can hear the sounds of him walking back and forth. And so he said, fine, this is what we'll do. Take a knife and cut his feet so he can't walk. And so the king couldn't walk. And so all he did was he turned his face towards the Buddha and just laid there on the floor, looking at where the Buddha probably was. Well, around the 6th day, something interesting happened. Ajatasattu's wife was pregnant and she gave birth to a son. And so they called him, Prince, your wife has a baby, gave birth to a baby, come see. And he ran over there to go see his newborn son. Right when he picked up his son, he looked down and he felt the feeling of, I am now a father. This is my son. I love him so much. I want to give him everything in the world. Everything that I make, everything that I do, I'm going to give to him. He is my future. I would do anything for him. The very minute that he felt the feelings of a father, he internalized and says, is this what my father feels for me? Is this what my father thinks about me? I've been thinking so negative about him, but he has the feelings of a father for me. How could I have done this to him? And he felt instant shame and instant regret. So he rushed to the room to let his father free and to apologize. But guess what? Right when he opened the door, he realized that his father had passed away. And then he realized that he had committed one of the biggest sins impossible, which is killing your own father. He felt so much guilt. He felt so much sadness, and he was depressed for a while. Finally, he decided after talking to the Buddha and many different people that he would no longer be friends with Thewatat, the evil monk, and chased him out. And he dedicated himself to helping the religion and doing as much good as he could do before he died to make up for all the sins that he did to his father. Now, many people thought about this king. He was later called King Ajatasattu. They thought about the king and thought about he was an evil king. He's a bad person and he's going to hell. But you know what the Buddha said? Yes, he will go to hell. From the bad things that he did, he will go to hell for a long time. But after his hell is over, because of all the good that he did for the religion, he will also become a future arahant, a Pancheka Buddha, a silent Buddha in the future. So when you do bad things, you will get the bad results. But the good things that you do, you also get the good results. Both of them are guaranteed. You can't erase one with the other. But do you know what the special lesson that the Buddha taught was in this case? He taught the people that you hang out with are very important. If you hang out with bad people who tell you to do bad things, convince you to hate your family, convince you to do evil things, those are called bad friends. And if you associate with bad friends, you will become a bad person. But if you associate with good friends, people that encourage you to keep the precepts, encourage you to give charity, encourage you to be good, respectful people, humble people, those are good friends. And when you hang out with good friends, you become a good person. So it's your choice. Do you want to hang out with bad friends or good friends? You have to be smart enough to choose your own path. Sadhu.